Everybody stand. We are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Is Craig ready?
Ready, Craig? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. This is a Plan Commission meeting on Tuesday, April the 18th. And I will call the meeting to order. Well, we had the Pledge of Allegiance, and a roll call will be done by Mr. Pettit.
You want me to do it, Madam President? Okay.
Sure.
Mr. Mellon? Mr. Rich?
Here.
Mr. Holtz?
Here.
I'm here. Mr. Minchuk? Mr. Deering? And President Uzelak. Four
I'm here.
members.
Thank you. We do have a quorum,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Could I have a motion on the minutes of March 21st, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and the minutes are now approved for March 21st. I don't need a roll call for that, do
No.
I?
Voice
Okay.
vote, Ricardo.
Okay, a
Voice
voice.
vote? Yep.
Okay, we will go with the voice vote on the minutes.
Aye.
March 21st.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
It's being recorded.
Yeah, it's being recorded too.
Okay, the minutes have been approved with the aye vote of March 21st. Are there any communications tonight, board members? Hearing none, we will continue on to old business. Is there any old business, board members? No old business? Okay. We will go on to item 1, P4FS1-0423, 9450 Mississippi Street LLC, petitioner and owner, located at 9450 Mississippi Street. Final 3-lot subdivision approval in a M2 industrial zoning district on 3.74 acres. The purpose, commercial warehouse office. Okay. Give us your plans again, please. Step to the little podium. And introduce yourself, names.
My name is Gary Radke with Radke Engineering and Surveying in Port Indiana.
My name is Jake Quensler. I'm the owner of 9450 Mississippi.
Thank you.
We received a response Friday afternoon from Robinson with many items on it. I worked Sunday, Monday, and today to get this response back, and I didn't get it back till about 1 o'clock. I submitted it to everybody. I'm sure the staff had troubles probably being able a chance to review everything. My response letter has all the items that were requested to review, and each item has a page number on where they can find the item that I have and I gave each of the commissioners a copy of the plan set as of 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock this afternoon, and my review letter. We're requesting if we can get approval or discuss this in more detail.
Okay, very good. Let's get comments and questions. Mr. Rich,
Nothing at this time.
nothing?
No.
Rick? Holtz?
No, just waiting to hear what the engineers have to say, if there is any, so.
Okay, Sean Pettit?
No, I have nothing. I've seen what Jake's done out on 94 in Mississippi, and I'm very happy.
I have nothing neither at this time. I will go to the engineers, Bob and Steve. Robert first.
My mic is not working, so we're gonna share here.
We could hear you. We could-
So as Mr. Radke had indicated, we received these plans today. So at the moment, we have not had a chance to review these. As far as even John Dykstra's comments or technical review comments, he did not have time to review it as well. So we need to look at those. And then in addition to that, we're working on clarifying some things with the plat. And once that gets all worked out, my surveyors finds it acceptable, then, we'll go ahead and approve that. But we're working on that to
So
complete.
you don't think we're ready to approve it tonight?
I think it's up to the commission to decide. At the moment, I mean, we've always worked through things, so I'll just say that, but at the moment, I don't have anything concrete because we just received these and I didn't have a chance to look at them.
I
Or Steve.
understand.
Madam President, to Ricardo and Sheila, and since it's in my ward, I'll probably be making the motion to approve, because again, I've seen what Jake has built out there, and I'm extremely impressed in what we've got going on. There's development, there's new owners at the Little League. I guess my question, Ricardo, is can we make the motion contingent upon engineering approval before a building permit is issued by Sheila?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Steve, comment?
So I'm gonna kind of reiterate what Bob said. Engineering has not been approved. Stormwater's not been approved. He doesn't have a stormwater permit. There's some plat issues that we're dealing with.
Sure.
Again, it's nothing, I don't even want to comment on that. I'm sure these things can be worked through. These plans were submitted this afternoon. No time to review them. I believe when we were at the workshop, we asked Mr. Radke to have things in a timely manner. That didn't happen, so that's why nothing's been reviewed. So from the engineering side and the stormwater side, tonight we have no comments because we haven't had time to review anything.
Sure. Sheila, do you still want to give a staff report?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Petitioner is requesting final three-lot subdivision approval on 3.74 acres in the M2 Industrial Zoning District. The proposed subdivision is to be served with shoulders and ditches, individual well, common water, sanitary sewers, and storm sewers. Petitioner has built one warehouse office building, which is 12.160 square feet. Petitioner would like to build two more warehouse office buildings. Each building will be 12,000 square feet. The proposed building will be constructed in the same manner in which the existing building is. Engineers have provided comments to the petitioner and are awaiting the revisions.
Very good. Board members, are you ready to vote contingent?
Madam President, I guess a question for Jake is, given the timing of these submissions, Jake, I mean, if we were to defer this to June, what does that do to you? Or May, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't want to scare you.
That compromises the sale of the property, because I think that, realistically, it's a question for Gary. How long do you think, once we get the review, how long will it take us to resolve the issues, any issues?
We got the review Friday afternoon, and I got the response back today, so I think that's quite timely issue. So it's very detailed. It shows whatever page it's on and whatever issue is.
So the reason you got it back Friday afternoon, we talked on the phone Wednesday.
But we got your review letter Friday.
We talked on the phone Wednesday, and when we were all in Matt's office. You were gonna have this stuff to us Wednesday afternoon, or you said first thing Thursday morning, okay? We got those, what, 6:40 on,
I did Friday.
6:40 on Thursday afternoon, which is, in my mind, I'm at home eating dinner, so now that's Friday. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these things aren't getting done in a timely manner. Like I tell every development that we do or we review, it's not our team that hinders this. It's the other team. And now we're sitting here with nothing approved, revisions that came out today at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We all have things to do. The things aren't getting done in a timely manner.
I totally understand what you're saying.
And it's unacceptable.
And if I may, Madam Chair, one thing I did want to say tonight is, Mr. Radke, as I indicated in correspondences twice, please contact my surveyor so we can resolve those issues. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, so we're at the point now where Mr. Pettit would like to make a motion
Well, I mean,
contingent.
I hate to,
on-
well, I hate to make the motion, Madam President, because our staff's expertise is telling us probably not to.
Is that
Is that what I'm
right?
hearing, guys? I mean, not to
Stephen,
table
Bob?
this till May?
I don't get a vote, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I'm giving you a vote, Steve.
Well, if
You
it's,
say
if
no?
it's up to me, no,
All right, well, that's what I paid.
I wouldn't
that's what we-
recommend approving anything contingent. This is.
That's what we pay you
this
that
is-
$1.1 million salary for.
Easy. You're on the record.
Oh,
Everybody wants his job now.
they've known about me for 20 years, Margie.
Okay.
So,
All right, I
mean,
I
understand.
mean,
If-
you know what I mean? I mean, if that's,
If you want to vote tonight and prove it contingently, I mean, these are things we can work through. I'm not saying we can't, I'm just saying you can't submit stuff at the last second and expect to come to this commission and get a recommendation from engineering or stormwater, because
Right.
we can't comment on it, because we haven't had a chance to even
and we're the
review
final say, guys.
revisions.
I mean, this isn't
Yeah.
going to to Margie and I at the council. I mean, it stops right here tonight. Ricardo, any thoughts?
Time limit on.
Well, I think, given what we've heard additionally from the professional staff, the engineers, I guess that has to be put against what we heard from over here. If I heard correctly, if we delay, it's going to jeopardize potentially the sale, is that what I hear?
Well, I mean, we're already 2 months behind. So,
There you go.
Well, is this something the staff could work through, the engineers?
yeah, and that's what they're saying. is that
Oh,
they
absolutely,
think
no,
they can work through
absolutely,
it.
absolutely, and I agree with Sean.
Okay.
Jake's building, he puts out a beautiful product, but it's not the building we're talking about, it's all the engineering and the stormwater issues. I'm sure the building's gonna be beautiful, I know it's
brought
gonna
up
be.
those two things, because I think the council would have to weigh those two things. How fast can our staff get matters reviewed versus the value of having this project?
Well, what would be a reasonable time that we would have to get back to your review, and then you'd be okay with it?
Well,
A week, 2 weeks,
So we have to review it, again, we have to review what was submitted.
Yeah,
What was submitted this afternoon.
sure. He
Okay.
has it outlined pretty simply,
And
for you to just
well,
go
and,
right through it.
and maybe he does, I don't
Yeah.
know. 'cause-
Well, I'm just saying that,
you know.
I'm only making a statement because it's gonna expedite your side. So if you have any other comments,
Well,
you're able to make them pretty quickly.
Well, once we can schedule our review meeting, it probably, I don't know if it'll be later this week or early next week. We've all got other projects we're working on.
Yeah.
But we'll get it scheduled and we'll get the comments back to Mr. Radke.
Well, that's what my question is what is a reasonable timeline from the time you get comments back to Gary for him?
We
to
can
get
have them back, we
back
can
to
have
you?
them back, and if you, depending on our
Well, no, for
schedules,
his
Jake, we
timeline
can
to
have
get
them
back
back in a, in less than a week, depending on what other things we have.
No, I understand, Steve. I'm not talking about your timeline. I'm talking about his timeline to get back to you after your review.
For Gary to get back to us?
Yeah. Because that's really that's what you guys are saying.
I mean, as long as he addresses everything, I mean, he might have addressed everything today.
Yeah.
I don't know that, with the exception of the plat.
I'd like
I don't
to-
know, that's up to, that's a question for Gary.
I'd like to, once you get a chance to read through it, I'd love to get together with you, meet with you, and go over them, and then we're done with them. So if we could get conditional approval, that would be great, and we can do that. You schedule a meeting, I'll be there.
Well, like I said in the email today, I don't get to vote.
Yep.
The vote's not up to me.
Yeah, but they're going to listen to you.
Well, that's what they pay me for.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah,
But when,
your
but
opinion
when
weighs heavily on it.
but when we try to rush through things like this and
Well, we're
something
kind of down
goes,
to the nitty-gritty here.
something goes wrong out there, then we're the ones they're gonna look at.
Well, that's why I was asking you, what would be a reasonable timeline for him to get back to you so that we're not saying, hey, we should have just kicked this over to May? You know what, we're just gonna have to, you guys have to get back on the docket again.
2 weeks.
Well, here's the
2
thing
weeks.
though, guys. If you guys are looking at 2 weeks, that's already putting you at the May workshop, which is gonna have to be moved, Sheila, because May 2nd is election day, May 3rd, we're gonna have to meet on Wednesday night, May 3rd, and then the final vote could be on May 16th. What does that do to your timeline, Jake? Do you have a purchase agreement on either one of these
I
two
do.
lots?
Yeah, I got a purchase agreement on lot number 2.
On two, is that the
He's
guy
trying
with the
to get on
pickleball?
I'm sorry?
Is that the guy with the pickleball court?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think our main question here is time element.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
This
hounding
is
Gary
a
for
question.
approved
If
plans.
the board would agree to the vote tonight, but then again, Steve and Bob have got to go through so much that, I don't know, I will take their advice. And Sean's too. Whatever Sean likes to do, because he feels that you guys do a good job. So what's the board think? Let me start with Mr. Rich. Are you in favor of giving a motion tonight or waiting for the engineer's approval? The engineers will go along with
After
us,
listening
but
to engineering,
there's a time element here.
it does seem as though if our engineering doesn't want it approved right now, we should probably hold off to the next meeting.
Okay, so you're saying yes or no? No.
I would be voting no if we were to make a
Okay.
motion to approve this.
Rick?
Yeah, I prefer waiting.
All right.
All right, then here's what we can do then. Here's a recommendation. I'll make a motion to table you guys. At the meeting on the 3rd, that gives you guys 2 weeks, all four of you, okay? You listening? Have your Mylars here, Gary, on the 16th of May, when we actually take the public vote. Margie, you and Jeff can sign them that night on the 16th. Go down to the county, you'll be ready to go, Jake, on the 16th. And then you can close with this guy. And if you've got drawings ready, do you guys have building drawings ready?
Yeah, they're just waiting on a site approval. Like, they're
So
ready.
the guy that's buying it has got his own building design.
Yes.
Does he
They're
have a
ready,
state,
they're ready to go.
does he have a state release?
I didn't get that far into the
How
conversation.
long does the state release take, Sheila? 4 weeks?
4 weeks, and he's probably gonna have to go through a use variance.
Oh, boy.
Well,
That's-
he is,
That
but
guy, not you, but
Yeah.
guy, cause
Yeah,
it's
because it's
pickleball
zoned
court.
industrial, the recreation's not, yeah, something like that's not permitted in the M1.
he is, but when he goes to do that, he's gonna be ready for you guys, for that.
All right.
you know.
So
So-
mention that date again, Sean, that you think.
Well, we're gonna have to meet on May 3rd for the workshop because the
That's the
second.
day after election.
Yep, and then the 16th would be the public hearing, the vote on the
So
16th
we're
of
just
May.
going to have maybe a workshop
I wish
then,
that worked.
on the 3rd.
Yeah, workshop on the 3rd. And I don't know, do you have any other petitions, Sheila?
Yes, Redwood is coming back with.
Oh, Randy Hall?
Yeah, final phase for the,
Okay.
Redwood part.
All right. All right, Madam President, so we can keep this going. I'll make a motion to defer.
They sent you stuff?
Defer to May.
To May.
3rd, correct?
Yep.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Mr. Pettit to defer this item to May 3rd. Could I have a second?
Second.
There's a second by, who was it, Mr. Rich?
Rick.
Oh, Rick. There's a second by Rick. So we have a motion on the floor for a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Then,
All right, you guys work with
Yeah.
Steve and Bob in the next 2 weeks. We'll get it solved.
Can I ask you something, Bob?
Yes.
What is the issue with the surveyor? Because you've acted like you've asked him several times for them to contact your surveyor.
Well, the thing is there's a statute that my surveyor had provided me, which I forwarded over to Mr. Radke. And there's a difference of opinion of Mr. Radke feels like he's, followed that. My surveyor disagrees on that, so that's what they need to work out. So I think probably the time frame that you provided, and again, we can work through anything. I think that's ample time to get this resolved, and, that we're here to review everything to protect the town, and Jake, protect you. So we
So
just want to make
that's
sure
your
it's all
major-
right.
Bob, that's your major question, the surveyor? Besides the other.
It's, well, there's something that there's some recordings that weren't done. And again, that's my surveyor's forte, so that's why I requested he contact my surveyor, and they can work through things.
Just remember, Jake, big picture. I want you, the town wants you on that property. Little picture is, the timing is just a little, we're gonna be a little bit off, but we definitely want the project. I want the project.
Yeah, I have no problem with the project.
Right,
yeah.
it's a great
The
project.
the technicalities, Rick, are kind of the little
Right.
that we gotta get through.
And I'll
We'll
say.
get them done.
And I'll say this, Jake, the surveyor, who Bob's speaking with, I've worked personally with him for last 25 years, and if he says, you know, something's gotta be done, then it's gotta be done.
Yep.
It's in writing, so. Well, that's, I'm right.
That's why I want the surveyors.
You
to
guys
work
talk
together
and get it worked
Yeah,
out.
we'll get it
work
done.
out.
All right.
So, I think we've come to a conclusion on this. We will still be meeting on May the 3rd for our workshop meeting, and then we'll go further with the engineers with their review. Okay? How's that sound, board members?
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right, in the meantime, let me see this agenda. Where was I? I lost the agenda.
Other
I don't
business.
think we have anything else, do we?
No other business.
No other business. Okay, could I have a motion?
Someone from the audience.
Somebody from the audience, Madam President.
Oh, okay. Audience member? Please come.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
to the mic.
Step up to the mic. State your name and address.
I will. My name is Jason T. Whitaker. My address is 7466 Hendrick Street.
Wait, 7466?
Yeah, I'm right by you, Margie.
Yeah, you're right by me. Okay, what is your name?
It's Jason Whitaker. I pronounce it Whitaker. My family household pronounces it Whitaker.
Whitaker.
Yeah, I
Right.
just like to differentiate because I think I'm a new breed of Hendrick Street. So nice to talk to you, Marge. It's been a long
Thank you.
time since I've seen you. I'd
Yes.
like to address you all. I've seen in my neighborhood in Southbrook subdivision and Young America, I've noted there's 3 residences, and they're operating construction activities. One is 2 houses down from you, and
Me?
2 houses to the south of you.
On
Yes,
75th and Hendricks?
it's Hendrick Street. I don't know your number.
I'm 75.
Okay, 7524. I'm not really good with numbers as it goes south or north, but on the 75th block, it's 2 houses down. It's adjacent to where the murder was next to your house. It's the beige house.
It's
And
the house next to that
The-
beige house.
no,
the
it is
white house.
it is the beige house.
It is a beige house.
Yeah, it's yes, 2 houses
To
south.
tell you the truth, you completely lost me here.
Okay,
I do
all right.
not, I
Uh,
have not seen any construction.
Mhm.
That's why I'm asking you
Okay.
that address, and
Yeah.
I cannot place that.
This is what I'll do. Since you're a councilwoman, I can get their address
Okay,
and I could send that to the engineering department or the
Sure.
building department tomorrow. But what I wanted you all to record in your board is that I've seen 3 residences in Southbrook and Young America that are operating, pretty high budget construction, doing water and sewer, and that's messing with the, running the potable water and also the black water. So if they perform damage, if they break a line, then you're gonna have to send out street department.
no, American
no.
Water is in charge of the water.
Yeah, we are in charge of the utilities.
Pardon?
We don't control the utilities.
No, American Water
And ICD.
controls.
Who-
the- IHC
Who
is
controls the
sanitary-
black water, the sewage?
Sanitary.
Sanitary's
sewage,
IHCD.
IHCD.
IHCD, Independence Hill Conservancy District.
Brian. who
Good,
is-
that's the stormwater buildings that you have in Merrillville? No?
No, stormwater has nothing to do with sanitary.
So they're different.
Yeah, they're 2 different entities.
Then
Totally different thing.
I'll communicate with him to
With
find out the differentiation
Sure.
with utilities, so I could,
Because the only people that go out there with the water lines, like you say, that's American Water,
Mm-hmm.
and they drive around in a white truck.
Utilities
And
Inc.,
it'll
I've
say
seen.
utilities on
Utilities,
it.
Inc.
Yeah.
And as far as IHCD, our maintenance man is Brian. He lives on my block,
Sure.
and he drives around in a truck.
Is that the one with the
Says
canine?
IHCD on the truck.
He's the one with the canine in his passenger seat, who's been
No,
employed
he
with
has
the town?
no K-9.
Okay, all right, well, I'm gonna cut to the chase. There's 3 houses in this district, and they did not post building permits.
I just can't understand that.
Well,
How could they be
I'll-
building?
I'll help you understand. I will.
Okay. What are the addresses?
Okay, that's what I'm gonna contact you with tomorrow. So there's 3 buildings, and also, there's another issue too. At my residence that I stay at, I need code enforcement, to enforce the municipal building code.
Okay,
So
what's wrong? What's the problem?
I have a lot. There's a lot. There's probably, 16 sections in your municipal code. In my residence, the landlord has violated probably 4 or 5 that are active violations.
You're renting?
I am, well, I have a landlord, and my landlord's not operating. I communicate to my landlord, and they ignore my
Is
requests.
your landlord your relative?
It's my mom.
Okay. Well, I don't think we could get into any personal problem here, but if you have a real issue, you would have to contact the code enforcer,
I do, I've contacted Vicky Bonnell.
okay?
Yeah,
And what did Vicky say?
I've contacted her 4 times. She's only returned 1 of my calls. I contacted Patrick last night, the town manager.
Okay.
He didn't answer his phone. It's a cellular phone. I tried to get a ride up here to the town council last week, and I live by you. So I was gonna walk here, and my feet hurt. And I went to Patrick approximately a year ago to get transportation in this neighborhood. And he recommended me, he said, see trade winds. And,
Okay.
but
see,
I know
we're
this is,
on
I know this is a
another
different
topic.
issue. This is town
Trade
council.
winds would, see,
I don't
everybody
want-
in our area has 1 or 2 cars. And that's probably why they don't want to put transportation out there. I don't know of anybody in that area without a car except you now. And I'm really surprised because this is the first time I actually talked with you. I don't know what to say. I'm in limbo here. Does
Well,
anybody
it's-
have any?
You know what? I'm sorry to interrupt
That's
you,
okay.
Marge. I'm not here to put fines on my parents, my landlord. But we have rules in municipal code, and
Sure.
I study MPS, and that's minimum property standards. And that's incorporated and acted in on every residential unit, every project unit, every apartment complex in the Chicagoland area, and in metropolitan cities in Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston, Florida, and New York. It's a United States code, and they work with HUD. They work with HUD and they work with Section 8. I'm in the lower bracket of poverty at my residence. I've tried to get employment all over Merrillville, and right now I'm seeking to get employment at Lexus. And I remember your son, David, he was the one who brought Lexus to Merrillville. Now,
Oh, you're talking about Route 30?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's been there quite a while.
it has. Now, since I'm employed, I'm active in finding work. I went to the street department 365 days ago. I put my application in. I have a quasi degree in every single civil engineering, surveying, structural, site planning, wastewater, drainage, gravity, pressure drawn hydraulics engineering. I'm educated in a little bit of electrical, like coulombs, candelas, lighting, space management, trafficking, programming, BIM, AutoCAD, Revit. And instead of me having some low-end job, you know, as a service person, I really wanted to work with the street department. I put in my app, Miss Jasso said that I was the first one to be considered after I came here for the second time when I seen the councilman wearing the Purdue garb, who was not Terrell, but his name, it rings a bell. It's an African-American gentleman, one of two, and he lives over in Crescent Lake. And
Crescent Lake.
that's the subdivision across from.
I know where it's at.
Okay, good.
It's in our ward.
That's Ward 6?
There is no councilman living in that.
Okay, well, then I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Don't put it on the record.
Now, Crescent Lake is with us in Ward 4. It's part of our area.
All
Ward
right.
4.
Well, then I need to start communicating with the building department to get a
Well,
plat.
I think you
of-
could maybe communicate with Steve. He's
Steve,
the
Mr. King?
engineer, and he does a lot of work with the Public Works. And
Yeah.
if you have the ability to work there or the qualifications, Steve, can't you go over and talk with him back there today?
Well, we don't know. He said he's busy. I heard he had work to do, plus the work with this gentleman that brought to you. It's already 6.
Oh, yeah, well, he's the engineer here.
What I'm gonna do,
Works
I'm gonna,
part-time with the street department, too.
Marge, if what I'm gonna do with my request or my disagreement about these 3 residences in Merrillville not having permits, I'm gonna find their addresses.
Yes.
And I'm gonna report those to either you or the building
Sheila,
department.
you could call Sheila.
Sheila, yes, Sheila. I wanna report those to Sheila. And there is one more.
Okay.
There is one more, and this is the largest violation. I'm also a project engineer / project construction manager. And I have my quote-unquote bachelor's degree in that from Purdue. I was on site today. I didn't have a hard hat on, but excuse me, I'm going to wear a hard hat if I decide to be around buildings and structures. Please forgive me for that. What I'd like to communicate to your board is that I was on site at an apartment complex on 51st. And they had numbers, they had windows open, egress, and they had debris on their site. They had rebar scattered all across the site. They had test cylinders from concrete, you know about testing concrete, the cylinders. There was open electrical receptacles, and they did not communicate a building permit. There was not one on the road visible. They didn't have restrictions to the place, and about 50 feet from that building, there is a detention pond. And if little kids come to that site, there's a slope too that's not at a 45-degree angle, and it's probably about 8 feet deep. And if these kids or anybody comes near it, since it's not sloped at 45 degrees, they could come to the edge in the sand. It's clay. It's not compressed. They'll fall in the pond. And I don't want that to happen. I'm OSHA certified too, 1926. There was also openings. They had garages and doors open on the ground floor, and it was approximately 5 or 6 o'clock. In supplement to that, they had, I want to report, I don't know if I would like to report to the police. I'm not being a whistleblower, but if I'm on a construction site and I'm building a structure I don't want anybody except my project team entering the building. There's a lot of pertinent things in there. People steal copper from electrical receptacles, they sell it on the internet, and they steal tons of money from projects that cost money to a project engineer. And since I'm entering this industry and trying to, I don't want that to happen to anybody else, and I don't want that to happen to my construction company.
Who is your construction company?
I'm not an LLC, but I'm registered with Lake County, Indiana, at the government complex. It's called North Arrow Planning. And that's what I do. I'm an architect and a project engineer.
Well, you're an architect, but you want to go to work in the public works, correct?
I want to do everything.
Oh, you want everything?
Well, I'm sorry, that's a little prideful. How about, I want to be an architect and I want to be a CM, design build.
I'll tell you the truth, I don't even know where we're at with you. This is,
Well, this is the first time I've spoke with you. I've never in my life,
what?
never in my life I've communicated to you for this long of a period.
No, I never even talked to you before in my life. I don't remember. I know the house you live in, Whitaker.
Yes.
That's about all I could say. I think your mother answered the door a few times on different occasions, but I really don't know the family problem there. And I would never get involved in it. That's another issue. But where we're at tonight, I don't know. What do you guys think? What? We're in a different.
Plan Commission, as far as I can tell, Plan Commission business is over, Madam President. I don't know,
That's what I was thinking.
you know, this is,
No.
Well, if he wants
Mr.
to
Pettit,
work
check
with the
this
street
out.
department-
I was told by the last time I visited you all on this board, you communicated to me, you said, if you want to introduce a project into this town or municipality, there's a $50 fee, and you said you have to communicate something to the board
Well, you
about,
we have to file a
Sheila
petition with
Shine.
Sheila.
Sheila's
to
in the
make a
planning
project
department.
in this town.
It depends what you want to do with your,
That's
I
what,
mean,
that's what I want to do. I have 7 projects.
this, Jason, this board, this Plan Commission, we have 4 citizen members and 3 town council members. The Plan Commission makes a recommendation to the council on rezoning petitions. The Plan Commission has the final say on subdivision plats,
Right.
okay? That's why tonight's petition, we had the final say.
Yeah.
If you want to bring a project in, you're going to have to sit with these 3 folks and Matt Lake and Pat Reardon and figure out what is it you want to do. Where's the property? You mentioned 51st Avenue. That's in Gary. If
I
you're
didn't-
looking at those apartments on
say
51st, that's in Gary.
No, I didn't say 51st.
You did, yeah, you did.
I thought you did. That's why it kind of threw me, Mark.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
She said,
Jason,
she
it's
said
recorded.
75th block. She said her address, 75.
Well,
And that's
again,
the
it's-
that's the only number I communicated. I communicated 75.
You
And that's
need to
on my-
find out
that's on
what
my
your
state.
project is, and you're going to need to sit down with Sheila and the staff, and what petition do you need to bring to us? Is it a subdivision? Is it a rezone? It could be something that may need to go over to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Rick's on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
It's public property.
It's public property?
It's public property that I want to develop for the Parks Department.
Where?
In Crescent Lake, incorporate that with that drainage detention pond along with the park.
Then you're bringing in Matt Lake and Torrance Price.
Okay.
You're bringing
Well-
in two
well, I don't know
other
names.
department heads.
Is that, can I communicate those 2 heads with them two, like as them as my liaison?
There would be a staff meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I don't run the Parks Department or the Stormwater Department.
Okay.
You'd have to, you'd have to talk to Matt, and you'd have to talk to, Mr. Price, our Parks Director. I mean, I'm totally different department. I don't get into their business
And
unless they
I
need me
don't
for
see any
something, so I
public
don't.
property in Crescent Lake where there's construction. All the homes have already been built. We have a park there. and Morton Street, and that Morton Street goes through Creekwood Crossings, and they're building back in Creekwood Crossings, but not in Crescent Lake. We have no open land in Crescent Lake. I know that. So I cannot visualize what you're talking about in Crescent Lake. Really,
I'll give you schematics, like I
Pardon?
said, I'll give you I'll have their department deliver you schematics, cause I'm a draftsman, and,
Yeah.
I'll communicate with the Parks Department, cause I'm a naturalist, just like Teddy Roosevelt, and
Okay.
since,
But I
Can-
look at it this way.
yeah,
You have got a lot going that you want to look into,
yeah,
and I think you should contact the right people.
uh-huh.
But this is not the place right now, Mr. Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot that you want to look into. First of all, you're talking about public property in Crescent Lake. I cannot visualize any public property there. Then you're talking about 3 residences, 3 people, or 3 contractors, or somebody doing work in Southbrook that I don't know of. I did not see that.
That's why I reported it.
I have not seen that at all. I drive through there. But
I'll
I
have the
don't want
numbers
to
for you.
dispute you. I just think that this is not the place to bring it up. I might be wrong, but I think you have to deal with the staff members, like the engineers, or maybe Sheila with the planning department. And if you're talking about 51st,
No, I never mentioned 51st.
oh, what are you talking about on the north end where they have the windows open and there's a pond and little children
73rd Avenue by Dairy Queen,
73rd Avenue by the Dairy Queen?
right by our house.
Okay, you're talking about right by the cemetery then.
Yeah, well,
There's the Dairy Queen across the street.
it's the only
Go south.
it's the only apartment complex with 3 to 4 levels. It's,
He's talking about Milt Peterson, Margie.
The condos.
He's got to be talking
Yeah,
about Milt
that's
Peterson.
going
That's the only
south.
thing that's in that vicinity.
Well, that's still
And that's,
south of the
what's
Dairy
Milt's
Queen.
project called?
Brookstone.
Brookstone.
Yeah.
Brookstone.
it's,
Yeah.
it's where the stormwater drainage
Very-
building used to be.
Very
And
efficient.
it's not there anymore. There used to be a public works or something ran by the town of Merrillville, by White Star Tavern Turnkey,
That's Brookstone.
Brookstone.
Right next to White Star is Brookstone.
There
Okay,
was never
And
any
he's
town public.
building, you go to
there
the back,
was,
there's a new project of new condos going up with Milt Peterson.
Yeah.
And he is,
well then, please address Milt Peterson about his violations.
oh, I can't do that because I'm not the one in charge. I think if there's violations,
Well,
you
Mr.
would have to bring
King,
them maybe
But
to,
you're on a but you're trespassing on a private construction site.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
So
not.
is my record
Hold on,
invalid
hold
then?
on. I'm not a lawyer, okay? But I'm just gonna say, it sounds to me like you're trespassing on a private construction site. We haven't, if building is going on,
No.
so there's no building going on.
At the time I approached the residence, it was about 5:00 PM. It was extremely vacant, and there were apertures.
So you're in a private area.
I was.
Walking around a private area,
I
just
wanted.
like you were today,
I-
walking around in the building after. we
Yes,
closed.
yes, I was. I was looking for Mr. Pettit to talk to him, to ask him for a pencil,
or a pen.
for a pen or pencil to
Oh.
write down what you guys talked about.
Well, Mr. Peterson, as far as I know, does excellent work, and he brought a lot of economy to Merrillville. What your complaints are?
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe you should talk it over with Sheila. Sheila, do you know of anything that's not right with Mr. Peterson?
Well, he has a permit.
He's got the
building a new
permit,
building. He
correct?
has a
Process
permit.
of building.
Yeah, he has a permit.
And he's built quite a few way before this, too.
He has.
So we don't know what he's
He
not
has.
finished yet.
Yeah,
he's not-
well, we don't know.
And we pay Dan Brown and Terry and our plumbing inspector and our
Absolutely.
HVAC inspector to go make sure those are done by code.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's, it's a private development, I'm sure there's signs posted,
Yeah,
you're not supposed to be here. Well, obviously, there was a hard hat sign posted, because he said he went over there and didn't have a hard hat, so there had to be something posted.
Well, the
No, I
last
learned
time
that
I
it-
looked,
I
it looked
learned
like
that
the
at Purdue-
project was almost.
When I
And it
approached,
could be, I don't
when I approached the property, there was no work permit on the property.
Well, that's a big construction site,
Yeah,
I know.
so they don't really hang it anywhere,
It could be in his office.
but,
Well,
yeah.
I learned it should always be visible. It should always be visible
Well, maybe you should
outside
walk
of the
into his
construction
office and
project.
see it.
Most likely, it should, not most likely, it should be at the entrance. And today, when I walked around, did my community inspection on these 3 residences near Independence, Marshall, South Brook, there were 3 construction activities that were not barricaded, that were not posted that there's work being operated. And so that meant they did not have a building permit. And if they don't have a building permit, they're not allowed to work.
Where
And
at
and they
Marshall
get
Place?
fined.
What avenue on Marshall Place?
I'm going to find that out.
Oh, because, I have been driving through there recently. I haven't seen any type of construction. And that's why I'm asking you. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't
Are you saying I have to get a photo or something?
Well, an address, a photo or something, and then you deal with the planning and building department before coming here. Am I correct, Sheila?
Yeah,
There's-
we need it, we like to work with addresses.
Yeah, we need the address, right?
Yes, that's good. I like to work with addresses too.
yeah, if you get Sheila an address, I mean, we can look it up, and she can look it up in the system. We have a building inspector, Dan Brown, he can go out there, make sure the permit's, visible. You give Sheila the addresses, and we can move forward from there.
Well, if Dan Brown is the inspector, as I addressed Marge, I need him or code enforcement to come to my residence. Because there's things wrong with my house, with my dwelling unit. And I have nobody else to go to. I can't contact an attorney. I can't contact a police officer. And I need someone to enforce municipal code at my house.
What are the municipal codes that you're looking at?
They're the ones on the town website.
Because you are not the landlord there. You don't own the residence. You are living there with your mother, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So your mother would have to be the one to make the complaint, I guess.
No.
She is the owner of the house.
Residents have the right to petition.
Does your mother know you're here?
She doesn't care that I'm here.
Does she know what your complaint is, your mom?
She doesn't talk to me.
Okay, but you're living in that house with your mom.
I am.
Well, I kind of think this is more of a personal matter.
That's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, that's true, but
Oh,
from
but
what,
again, and I defer to Ricardo as our legal counsel, again, the planning commission has certain guidelines, what we can approve, as I rattled off, and I think you would agree, Ricardo, and this is, we're getting into, Margie, I think you're right, this is a two-party personal, there's some things, that concern me, where a citizen is going out onto a work site. God forbid if he would have fell or gotten hit, Ricardo, then someone would be after Milt Peterson, and Milt Peterson has no idea.
yeah.
None of these developers. He could have done it at Randy Hall's place at Liberty Estates, or he could have gone in my area, Margie, Edward Rose, at Broadfield. And something, he could have tripped and fell and hit his head walking around a construction site without permission from the developer.
He had an inspector.
We can't have citizens
But you don't
going
have
around
the
on
authority
you're
to
right.
police a
That's
job
dangerous.
site.
A brick could have fell
You
and
don't
hit
have
him on
that
the head and
authority.
killed
Yeah,
him.
so,
I could understand all that.
But you don't,
I don't know.
you don't
I think
have
where we're
that
at with
authority.
this is a personal matter with Mama.
Yep, I think, Madam President, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
But it doesn't
Okay, Mr. Whitaker?
authorize you
We are
to
going to adjourn
police a
this
job
meeting.
site. All those credentials don't mean anything
We gotta take a
All
vote.
in favor to adjourn?
when it comes to what you're talking about.
Rick seconded, aye.
There is.
We're adjourned, Craig.
Second.
I'm going to eat at 7:30.
Our business